Hello and welcome to the Trading Post podcast, where we unlock the secrets of business-to-business trade, dive into powerful networking strategies, and share my exciting journey of using a podcast to market my business instead of relying on SEO. I'm your host, Trader Stu. Thinking about on the ride in, of course, everything is filled with Snap talk. And I mean, the Snap benefits, the EBT cards, whatever, it's all ending here this week, right? And I thought that I got something to say about it. I couldn't just let that one go. And by the way, if you hear me having a cough drop in my mouth, it is because I do. Dude, I got this freaking cold at the beginning of last month. So it's September, first week of September. I still have this stupid cough. Anyone ever try this nicotine patches? I've heard that nicotine kills this long COVID or whatever they're calling it, but for the symptoms from having COVID, I had to have had it, dude. I can't get rid of this stupid cough, so I'm gonna try some nicotine gum. I think on the way home and see what happens because I'm over it. I don't even smoke cigarettes, but on the risk of getting addicted to nicotine, I don't care because I can't keep going like this. At any rate, I was doing some research on these supplemental nutrition assistance program. And by the way, I can talk about it because I was your basic starving artist living in New York City, literally living on hot dog per day. You know, those hot dog vendors you always see in the streets of New York? Well, they're on every corner. And back in the day, I think it was $1, maybe $2 for a pop. I think it was a pop and a dog. Maybe it was a pop dog and chip. I can't remember. That was like so long ago. That was back in 1999, dude, believe it or not. So long time ago. Anyway, I would just eat one of those a day. And let's not forget all of the walking I did. Like I wouldn't take any mass trans for the most part because I was a starving artist, except for what my dad and my stepmom would give me a Metro card and it gave me access to the subways and stuff. But for the most part, I walked around a lot and burning all kinds of calories and not eating any of it back. So I wasn't starving, but it's a little bit, you don't realize how little you need to live. You don't need that much food. As an adult, maybe a teenager or a kid, you do. You know, you got to put down some food. But as an adult, you really only have to eat one time a day, maybe two. And I mean, and that's not a lot of food either. You don't need a steak every day or whatever, right? So really didn't know how much people got paid. I thought it was $87 a month, not $187. And so I'm actually in my office, and because I want to do some investigation as I'm talking here out loud, and I actually just typed in what the average is in Metro Detroit, and it's insane, man, how much these people get. You are not supposed to be comfortable. This is supposed to suck. This is supposed to be a time in your life to when you don't want to be on this. I get how this generational thing, this is saying that one person household can get $292 per month. Okay. I would say that's a fair amount. I don't know. That's less than $100 a week. That's not a lot, but a 4-person household can get $975 a month, dude. That's a lot of freaking money, man. And free money. We spend about, I think it's $800 to $1,000 a month. Now, my wife would know better than me. I don't really pay attention, but we eat freaking good, dude. Like we got freezer full of food, like 3 freezers full of food, actually. And I'm talking about ribs. I get all this stuff when it's on sale, right? So if I see racks of ribs on sale for $2 a pound, I try and empty out the freezer. It's gone. It's mine. Because, you know, you get it while you can. Otherwise, they're $4 a pound or whatever, right? So we got, I think, a brisket in there, a couple pork bellies that I get good. If you ever get pork shoulders, you can get a whole pork shoulder. I got one in there for $13 I paid for the whole thing. And that's like 10 pounds of meat or something like that and a tiny little bone. So, I mean, you can do it, man. You can eat really well on not a lot. And it's not like I'm trying to. It's just I love meat and I love smoking food and I love, you know, grilling. And that's what I get. I focus on those cuts. If you ever get like a whole prime cut, my little boy was craving lots of beef when he was brewing in my wife's belly, and she would eat literally a steak every day of New York strips that she was, I think this is what she was getting, New Yorks or something like that. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, we didn't buy a New York strip every day. You buy the whole loin, and it's like, I forgot how many pounds. Basically, I think you get 27 steaks out of this for, I don't know, $80. And I mean, that's like, it's a meal a day. It's $80. That's a month. That's a month of food, right? Every day she ate a steak for $80 a month, dude. That's not a lot of money. I mean, you can do it. You can eat really well if you're smart, buy the whole cut it up yourself, or have the butcher do it, blah, blah, blah. All I'm saying is, I don't know. I saw someone talk about like you should really get a box of food and just given to you. And you need to figure it out. Like rice, beans, maybe a bit of meat. But you can live on rice and beans. I mean, it's the whole amino acids, the whole protein. It's supposed to suck. This is not supposed to be a good time in your life to where you're going to want to like go ahead and live on this for the next year. You know, and it ticks me off is that I got laid off. I paid tens of thousands of dollars into the system. But when I wanted to see if I could use it just to like help, you know, for a little bit because my son was new, I think it was 6 months old when I got laid off. I was like, well, I'll see if I can get some of this because why not? I paid into it and I'm laid off, not making money. And why not? Yeah, right. Dude, they said your net worth has to be this and you have to do this and you couldn't make this year. And I'm like, yeah, but I just got laid off. I mean, it was bull crap, dude. The amount of hoops they make you jump through. I get they want you to be poor, but I know there's people out there that figured the system out and they're not poor. They're driving nice cars. They got, you know, their clothes and their hair and the nails, just the whole thing like they're talking about on the internet. And it is upsetting. And I really think that you should just be given a box or shipped a box. Heck, they do shipping of food now for groceries, right? Like Blue Apron or whatever else. There's that Misfit Foods you can get boxes of. They can ship food to the house in a cooler and it's done. That's what you get. That's it. That's what you get for the week or every other week or for the month, however they can do it. I don't know. But I also understand that it's a huge racket, right? So because liquor stores take EBT, my wife said she saw the other day at Taco Bell, they take EBT. And I had to edit out. I dropped a cuss word, dude. I never cussed before. I'm kind of worked up about this, actually, because this is baloney, man. And I think that this needs to be revamped anyways. But what I was getting at is like there is a whole market, right? There's a whole stream of income that stores and whatever, I mean, I say stores, I mean like corner stores, grocery stores, whatever, are getting this money and it's millions of dollars. 42 million people are on SNAP right now. That's crazy, by the way. We're the world's richest country, or so they tell us. You're telling me that 1 in 7 people has to be on some kind of supplemental food income to make ends meet? I don't understand that. I don't get it. But like, you know, as my dad always says, he's like, back in my day, we didn't have a cell phone payment, 2 car payments, 2 insurance payments on cars, cable bill, streaming bill, Netflix bills, Amazon bills. I mean, you know, I actually am kind of just overpaying $30 a month for YouTube Premium. I'm on it and off again. I should have really been on it when my son was born because I watched a lot of TV early in the morning. But honestly, I don't even remember the commercials being that big of a hindrance, I guess. I don't know. I watched a lot of shows and because he was up all night. I don't know. I lost my job, so it's like, okay, time to cut it out. That's it. Either we could afford it or not. I wasn't about to, you know, try and say that we're going to not make any changes. It's not necessarily about making changes that makes the change. It's about just like living into the suck. You have to deal with it. And then in order for it to like, you don't want it to be like that no more. So even though I could afford YouTube Premium, let's just say at the time, at least for the first couple of months because I got a buyout package. But, you know, as I was looking for jobs, whatever, I digress. But you don't want it to be comfortable. $30 a month isn't going to make or break us, but you got to make it be like, damn, Every day I watch YouTube or whatever, and I have to deal with these stupid commercials because I don't have a job. And I mean, it's just the way it has to be. And I remember I was working at ADT Security a long time ago. I was in Flint, Michigan, of all places, doing alarms for businesses, no less. And I was not in a good area. And this guy from the Philippines, he owned this Chinese restaurant's building. He owned the building, not the restaurant. The restaurant was empty. The place went out of business. But the guy, still has the building. And he was getting broken into because people wanted to steal the copper out. This is back in the copper days, right? The copper days. Back in the day when '08, I think it was '09, people were stealing copper, plumbing, and all that stuff. And he's like, what's wrong with the people today, dude? He goes, back in my country, in the Philippines, if you don't work, you don't eat. You need to do something to fill the hole, right? People want all these handouts all the time. They want something for nothing. And it was a really interesting perspective because, I mean, I grew up in Frankenmuth. I wasn't given anything. We were I wasn't a farmer, but I worked on my buddy's farms, and I'm from hard work. Slaughtering chickens and collecting chicken eggs and feeding cows, and before we went to school, if I stayed the night there, we would get up, do chores, and then go to school. So I know, I've been through it. And anyway, all I'm saying is, it's hard to break the cycle, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They want you, of course, to be dependent on them, because I think that universal basic income is coming out soon. They're already beta testing it, and let's just say you get $1,000 a month for free just to sit there and not do nothing because you can't get a job because the robots have taken over or whatever. We're being conditioned for that. I kind of believe that. And anyway, in a time during hustle culture, because that's what you see on YouTube is the hustle culture, these regular plain, I wish I knew if they were actually rented or not, but these regular guys, whatever, these gurus on trade, or they're doing whatever side jobs, they're driving these Lamborghinis, and they're 20 years old, and they got to be rented, or they're trust fund babies, and they're making it look like they made all this money, like this Dan Balzerian guy. He got found out, now he's gone because he was a trust fund baby. It's not real. It's his daddy's money, right? So, and at any rate, all I'm saying is that it's out there. You got to go get it. The money is out there. They want you to pick it up. That's it. Go get it. But it's too easy to get the free government assistance. I get that too. But this is why they're doing what they're doing. They got to make it turn it off, reboot, reset, and then maybe reapply or change the priorities or requirements or the length of time you can be on it. I don't know. All I know is something's got to change because that ain't the way. It's not sustainable. Not for a country to do that. It's not fair either. Everyone's ticked off, and I get it too. And I also get that you do maybe need a little bit here and there. But also there's the fact that we're getting away from family life. Back in the day, y'all lived maybe a generation, 2 or 3 or whatever, in one household, sharing all the bills. I couldn't even imagine having another family in the house and splitting everything up 50-50. That'd be sweet, dude. Like, imagine. But a lot of countries do it. A lot of cultures do it, and do it in this country as well. But I don't know. All I'm saying is, if you are, in the hustle and ticked off, and if you've ever been on the SNAP, if you haven't been on the SNAP, if you applied for it and got turned down because of whatever, I'd like to know about it just to, maybe, I don't know, ease the mind, or maybe give me something to talk about too in the next episode. But all right, I got to do some editing because I dropped some cuss words, and I got to make sure that I get them all because I don't want to get shut down. All right, that's it for now. I just want to talk about that and kind of rant and let y'all know you're not alone. If you're ticked off of the system, I think reprieve is coming, and it's about to get balanced out. All right, that's it. Whatever you do out there, be good or be good at it. Bye.